The suspect in the murder of the Western Cape's anti-gang top cop due in court today. The 39-year-old was arrested in Gauteng just a few days ago. Our reporter Ayesha Ismail is at the Bishop Lavis Magistrate Court tracking that story for us. Good morning, Ayesha. What do we expect to happen in court this morning?
Well, Bradan, the 39-year-old suspect is about to appear in the Magistrate's Court here in Bishop Lavis under tight security. Now, initially, the journalists were allowed into the court, and we were then asked to leave the court so that the members of the police could come in and sweep the courtroom. Now, having spoken to the presiding officer, the Magistrate, Paul Lowe, earlier this morning, he did indicate to us that there are concerns for the suspect. Now, what we do know about the suspect so far is that he is from Springs and he was arrested in Gauteng and brought to Cape Town yesterday. He is not directly linked to the murder of Lieutenant Colonel Kinnear here in Cape Town. They're linking him as the man who tracked and traced the whereabouts of Lieutenant Kinnear. Now, what we also do know that he is a former professional rugby player, and he's also the son of a retired police colonel. And it is believed that he was the person who did the pinning of Kinnear's telephone, and in this way, whoever wanted to know his whereabouts was able to detect that. But what the suspect is apparently saying is that he was not aware that the person that he was tracking and tracing was Lieutenant Kinnear. He said that a client had approached him and asked him whether he could trace the phone of his wife. So this suspect's evidence is going to be very crucial to the police in finding the person who actually asked him to do the tracking and the tracing.
I think that will be the key there, because if his story is true, if this suspect's story is legitimate, he needs to collaborate and cooperate with the police in identifying whoever was that client.
That is correct, and it is for this reason also that there are security concerns. There are concerns about the suspect's security, and that is because they need to get that information from him, because, as you say, his information is going to be very crucial. He's going to have to provide the police with, or the investigating officers, with the telephone numbers and with the names of the people who approached him initially to do the tracing and the tracking of Kinnear's telephone.
Yeah, and apparently he was in Gauteng at the time because he was investigating. He was busy with a huge or important investigation that allegedly might involve some police officers, and that's why he found himself in Gauteng last week when he was gunned down. Now, Ayesha, that R1 million that has been offered by the police for information leading to the arrest and successful prosecution and conviction of the suspect, is it still standing from what you know?
Bradan, that R1 million did not come from the South African Police Services. That came from a civil society organization. I'm sure that is still standing, but of course no other arrests have been made in connection with Kinnear's death. Although we spoke to the Hawks spokesperson yesterday, who said that they not ruling out other arrests. Right now, the only person that has been arrested is this person, as I said, who is a former professional rugby player. He is the son of a retired police colonel, and he does own a company that does tracking and tracing and investigations. And so for now, that's all we know about him. We're not allowed to mention his name before he appears in court. We're not also allowed to reveal his identity. And as I stand, I can see dozens of anti-gang unit members outside. So he is appearing under very tight security.
Yeah, very briefly, Ayesha, as we leave you there in court, were you expecting a very short appearance?
I would imagine so. I think that basically today it would just be a first appearance, and then the matter will probably, in all likelihood, be postponed for 7 days for a further investigation.
Thank you very much. Ayesha Ismail in court in Cape Town as the man who's supposedly a former rugby player who has a company that can locate people's cell phones is appearing today, and there's an indirect link with the killing of top detective Kinnear.